because it's clear they don't have rights. I mean, as if there's,
What the
and
fuck
we'll
just
get to it,
happened?
but it's almost low hanging fruit in some ways to see the arguments that are presented. Okay, that's great. That puts the put things in context. But you actually mentioned, and I think it's worthwhile saying, what do you mean by free will and what do you mean by determinism? The next thing you talk about that, and so I'll give you a chance to sort of briefly explain what you mean by free will and what you mean by determinism.
Well, this is where everybody like spends half the conference on arguing about
Yeah.
definitions and stuff. Um, but I think, well, maybe the place to start defining free will is what it's not, even though lots of people go for this.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a super influential way of seeing free will where there isn't, because it's what runs through the entire criminal justice system. You got somebody on trial, and essentially trials revolve around three questions. Did this person, after they figure out what the person did
Yeah.
the person intend to do it?
Really?
Did they know what the consequences were likely to be? And did they understand that there were alternatives? They could have done something else. And if the answer to
It's
those are yes,
57.
that's
I'm
it.
just
The
like
person showed free will and lock them
so
up.
cheesed and not thinking
Um,
right now.
and an equivalent myopia has run through sort of one field of like neurobiologists thinking about free will. And this is from this like landmark famous experiment in the 1980s by Benjamin Libet. And you read any damn paper on the biology, and by the
Lovely.
second paragraph, out comes Libet, and you want to scream. Libet's the one who's done that study. That's the famous one. He sat people down and basically said, here, do this behavior and do it whenever you feel like it. Press this button and whenever you feel like it, and we're going to hook you up to all sorts of like modern ways to see what's going on in your brain and your muscles and all of that. And out of it came this incredible finding. So you put people in there and like you're monitoring what's happening in their brains when they decide to do something. And what they reported was at the moment that someone said,
Everyone's
that's
still
when
here?
I got the intention to press the
Where did I
button,
die?
you could already tell from their brain, like up to a few seconds
Wait, last
before,
step.
that they
15
had
years
decided
old.
to push the
No,
button.
no fucking way.
Oh my God, everybody learned. Neuroscientists have just shown your brain knows before
Wait,
you do,
but oh,
with, of
inside,
course, this
inside still.
ridiculous
Makes
like
sense.
dichotomy there. But like people have been fighting about it ever since. Was
What?
the can you tell the difference between
Okay,
when you intend to do something and
this
when you
game.
know that you intend
This,
to do
this
it? And was there
no,
a
it's
better way of
Roadhouse is bad.
measuring the milliseconds? And like there's still papers being published saying things like Libet had his head up as he was so wrong. Like
I'm so
40 years
confused.
later, people are still fighting over it because it's essentially the question of when you believe you intend to do something, has this imaginary separate construct,
Okay.
your brain, already decided to do it. And both in that route and in the courtroom, that's the most ridiculously useless thing to do, because, like the metaphor I
Saying my
use,
death is
it's
right
like
here.
trying to
And I don't
review a
want to
movie
destroy the
based on only
base
seeing the last 3 minutes of it.
for something
Because
that's just
whether it's in the courtroom
bugged.
or whether it's
So
hanging with
bugged.
Libet and his detractors, in both